Hello all up my friends, this is Martin446 coming at you with a tour review. Today we're having a look at the Neca Predators Series 10, the Kenner Tribute line. We're having a look at the Hive Predator. Awesome. Man oh man, the only thing I really have to mention is the fact that, man oh man, it has been a while. It has been really a while I've actually reviewed a Predator figure. And I don't know what it is. I don't collect Predator figures anymore. I still definitely love the Predator figures that Neca is producing, but I don't know. I just didn't pick up a Predator these last months, or actually year. I didn't even pick up a Predator figure, which is kind of strange, but finally, a week back, I've actually managed to pick myself up and yet another Predator finally again, and it's actually this time the ultimate, well not the ultimate, but the Hive Predator from Predators Series 10. Of course, Predator Series 10 existed, of course, with the tribute to the Kenner line of Predators. Of course, you had the Storm, what was it again, the Night Storm Predator, which had a removable mask. Of course, you had the Lava Planet Predator. And last but not least, you have, of course, this guy, the Hive Predator. Out of all the three Predator figures, how much I like the Nightstorm Predator, I think still the Hive Predator was the one I was most impressed with. Why is that? Let's have a look. The Hive Predator, out of all the Predators, you know, about that Neca is making, of course we have a lot of Predator figure collectors here on YouTube and in the world, and some people here and there are complaining that they use the exact same sculpt and body and stuff, and the same articulation. I have almost no issues with that. This is the way how the most of the Predators are looking, and I think Neca is doing a fantastic job with the figures. What this figure excels so much is the fact, again, he looks so incredibly different. Being the fact he has the same body and same, you know, some of these same materials, he is so different if compared to the others. And one of the things that makes him so different is definitely the paint scheme. That's one thing I absolutely adore about this figure, is the paint scheme. I love this choice of blue. I absolutely love this choice of blue. Being the fact blue is actually one of my favorite colors, I must say. But this choice of blue is absolutely phenomenal. How Neca is making these figures is absolutely phenomenal. The paint scheme on this body is absolutely beautiful. You can see this on the front, on his chest, you can see this very nice, soft, light blue. And then if you turn on the side, it translates in this very dark, dark blue. Which is a very nice combination, if you ask me. A very nice combination. Of course, you can continue on his lion cloth, which is a brown plastic, and which is again very nicely sculpted and detailed. Continuing on this thigh armor, or his thigh guard, which is the same if compared to the classic Predator. But if you still look at the thigh armor, it's still this very nice wash of blue. Enough so that it definitely makes the armor look different. If you look at closely, and I hope that the camera is picking this up, you can still see some blue highlights into the shin guards and in the metal itself, which is a very nice touch. And these shin guards actually are a different sculpt, which is a very nice touch. So you can actually see this is something new. And Neca did a terrific, and I mean a terrific job for making these figures and making these shin guards, by the way. You can see all the wear and tear and all the details into the shin guards itself. Like it's been through something, and maybe an alien battle. It's not that damaged or something, but it just looks realistic. It looks aged, and it absolutely looks beautiful. Going on further with the back Predator feet, which I always like. These are of course the classic Predator's feet, but they actually are a complete new paint. Of course the nails you can see right there, which are actually this time blue. Continue also on the other feet, which is quite nice. Of course the legs are in that very nice dark and light blue. I just love that paint scheme on this Predator. That's one thing I just absolutely love. And the overall design itself is really interesting. It really, of course, kind of reminds me of course, reminds a lot of people of the Predator 2 Predator with a different paint scheme, being the fact that the Predator's mask is quite, for many people, the same. But still, it brings something completely different to the table. If you take a look at the mask, of course, it's Predator 2 for many people, but one thing that makes this figure so different is this piece right here. A complete new sculpt on the mask itself. And the mark they've actually chose, well actually no, it is actually taken over by the Kenner Predator, but how it's made, it looks absolutely awesome. It suits the Predator 2 helmet so well. It actually suits the Predator 2 City Hunter helmet so incredibly well. It looks absolutely awesome, especially from the side. Look at that, how cool it looks. Look at that. Of course, the mask is a complete new, actually a complete new repaint. It is a very nice metal with, of course, it is the same metal with the blue highlights, same as the shin guards, which suits incredibly well. And I especially really like the design of the eyes. This very nice bright yellowish blue neon color, which really looks very cool. It really suits the character. Of course, the dreadlocks are the same from the Predator 2 Predator, but you can even see it. I hope the camera is picking this up. They've actually, I'm sorry, something wrong with the camera, but here we go. You can actually see the same blue highlights into the dreadlocks, which is a very nice touch to make this Predator even more unique. Of course, the wrist plate is something completely different. Of course, something completely different. And I absolutely love, let me tell you something, I absolutely love that design of a wrist plate. That gauntlet looks absolutely so cool. So cool. You can also see this outer point right here. You can see all the details they have actually brought into the gauntlet itself. It looks so incredibly cool. You can see all the details into the gauntlet itself. Continue on to these very huge blades, I should say, blades, yes. These two blades are absolutely, actually very brute and very, not that large, not that long if you compare to the Alien vs Predators, but very sharp and very cool. I love this new design on these Predator wrist plates, which of course for many people sucked. I'm not really that fond with that. The only thing I would say though, if you pick up this figure, be a bit cautious with the blades, because these tend to be a bit fragile, even though they are actually sturdy enough, but they still are to tend to break off if it takes a shelf dive, so be careful with that. But again though, definitely a great figure. If you take a look at the articulation of this Predator, it is of course the same if compared to all the other Predator figures which have been released back in the day. But still, the articulation, I'm still super impressed with the articulation. Especially the quality on this new articulation is much better if compared to the other figures back in the day. Of course, the Predator right here has a ball jointed head which can move up and down, side to side, all the way around. So you have a very nice ball jointed head that you can move very freely. You have of course the ball jointed shoulder that you can move in and out, back and forth, all that good stuff. You can actually bend the elbow, you can rotate the elbow. There's a ball joint in the wrist. Being the fact that the wrist blades are in the way, you cannot move this hand that much. This hand is much more movable to move, being the fact that there's nothing actually standing in the way. There is a waist swivel, which is nice. And there's just a little pivot right here. The legs. Back in the day, when the first real series were actually coming out, especially, and I think especially when the Lost Predator came out, I actually forgot which series that was. If you remember my Lost Predator review, I was really impressed with that figure. My only really big issue that I had with the figure were the legs. The quality on those legs was not that bad, but the problem what I have with that Predator is the fact that his leg joints were incredibly loose. I was afraid that that actually happened to the next wave of Predators, but Neca actually took their liberty and giving us much sturdier and much sturdier leg joints. Of course, the legs are on the same ball joint, but you can move them so much better. So you can move him, of course, back and forward and in and out without any problems, because the last Predator which I had these loose legs, which if you actually move the legs forward, it felt immediately back because of the loose joint, which extremely sucked in my opinion. But this Predator right here doesn't have that problem at all. You can move the leg back and forward, in and out without any problems. You can rotate the thigh. He has these very incredible, absolutely amazing double jointed knees, and there is a ball joint in the foot. And that's certainly, in my opinion, loads and loads, and I mean loads of articulation. Accessory wise, the Hive Predator comes of course with accessories. First of all, of course, it comes with the backpack with the plasma caster, which is of course a reuse of the classic Predator, but still has a likable quality to it. If you look at it a little closely, especially on the back right here, it still has its very nice blue wash. There goes the camera again, I'm sorry. Here we go. It still has this very nice wash of blue to make it a little more different. I always was a big fan of this design of plasma casters, and I really do like the fact they actually bring in the back with this Predator. I don't know, it really just suits this Predator well, I find. But of course, plasma caster is the same like all the classic Predators. It still has this movable hinge and the upper ball joints. It still is absolutely very nicely detailed. It really just looks like the plasma caster from the first Predator movie. I love the fact they actually added to this Predator, and it definitely looks really, really cool. And last accessory but not least, this is something completely new. They gave this Predator a complete new weapon, being the fact this is of course a canine tribute Predator. They actually give him a very huge sight. A very huge sight. If you're going to take a comparison, it is almost just as tall as the Predator itself. But look at this weapon, eh? Look at this weapon, how cool it looks. That looks like a deadly weapon. If you take a look closely, it still, of course, has the same blue highlights into the weapon itself, which is really nice. And a very cool design. It really is sleek, but very sharp at the same time. Damn, this is one of these weapons you don't want to mess with. Damn, that's a very sharp point. I still say though, do a little bit be more cautious, because it's of course a good sturdy looking weapon, but it's still, be careful, because if this Predator takes a shelf dive, this would be breaking if you are unlucky. So be a little bit more careful with this accessory. So, but anyway, of course you can take this weapon into his hand, like so. And for instance, there you have the Predator holding a sight. I found his hand having a bit trouble having his pose, but if you raise his hand just a little bit more up, or his arm I should say, he can hold like this, or like this. It's a matter of preference how you want to display your Predator. This is of course a pose that I think a lot of collectors use to display the Hive Predator. I don't know what it is. How much I like this weapon, I always incline to display my Predators, or in case this Predator, just like so. Kind of like in his crouch position, having his plasma caster ready to shoot, and his wrist plate like so. This is one of my all-time favorite poses of a Predator. But all in all, yet again, a great Predator figure made by Neca. The Predator line seems always to be one of the best lines that Neca ever has been released. And the Hive Predator is no problem at all. It is definitely an awesome figure to have. I think actually one of the most interesting Predators in the entire series itself. There are definitely loads and loads of Predators into the Predator world of Neca. Of course you have the Big Red, like all other Predators, like the Elder Predator and stuff. But this one is very unique. So if you are a Predator fan and if you like action figures, I definitely say pick up this guy. Because I don't know what it is. This should be one of the most interesting and one of the coolest Predators I've seen from the entire series. But that was it, guys. I hope you guys liked my review on this Predator. Rate, comment, subscribe. If you want to watch more reviews, check out my channel if you want. And there are, of course, plenty of other Predator reviews that you can check out. And I'll see you guys next time with another review. Later!